those were black and brown people there yesterday, there would be bodies on the Capitol today. Bodies. There would be mass arrests. I think it reveals very clearly how some people believe that this country belongs to them. And they act that way. And they're treated as such. An insurrection. I saw a majority white mob with impunity sack the Capitol. I saw them walking, mulling about, threatening people in the Capitol. And I saw police being gentle, relatively gentle, I suppose, giving them space. It was a nation on edge in some ways. White mob violence is a critical feature of American history. At every moment in our history where there has been a sense in which our American form of life, white America's hold on the country seems to be in jeopardy, there's always been this response that borders on violence or is violent. Well, I mean, let's just compare the preparation of the police to respond to Black Lives Matter protests in the summer and how they prepared and responded to this Trump rally. What we saw was an overwhelming show of force. With Lafayette Park, we saw the deployment of resources to clear the park, tear gas, a range of things so that Trump could get his photo op with his Bible.
Is that your Bible?
It's a Bible. What we saw yesterday was no basic show of force. The fact that they could make their way up the steps of the Capitol, onto the bleachers, the stage of the inauguration. They were moving about. The fact that they were able to try to replace the American flag with the Trump flag. We saw photos of Capitol Police or police officers allowing them to pass through barriers. We saw police officers taking selfies. We saw police officers helping people walk down steps. We saw that for some people, citizenship means, right, the exercise of dissent. One could protest without fear of cops or police. One could give voice to this belief that you actually possess the country, that the country is yours.
That's right, we own it! We own you!
There are folks who believe, right, that they have the right to protest because the country is theirs, and they believe that all the other folks should just simply be grateful and shut up.
Let me be very clear. The scenes of chaos at the Capitol do not reflect a true America.
He's lying. You know, I understand the aspirational claim, but he's not telling the truth. At the heart of this country is a contradiction. It's a contradiction born in this idea that we are an example of democracy achieved, and yet we held chattel slaves. We've been dealing with the failure of holding these folk to account since our founding. We coddle and cuddle white supremacists. We compromise with folk who hold these views. That's the lie that's at the heart of the American project. Right? The contradiction that this place is the reserve for white people only, and everyone else should be thankful. You know, there's this ongoing American ritual where you have this kind of acting out, and then people will immediately start talking about unity and turning the page.
This moment calls for healing and reconciliation.
There's never been anything we can't do when we do it together.
We're at an inflection point. We're in the middle of a reckoning. And I'm not talking about the election of John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock alone. What I'm talking about is what made that possible. Everyday, ordinary people, right, seizing power for themselves and shifting the political landscape of Georgia. What we saw was the beginning of the birth of a new America. We saw the crown of a new America. So we got to be better midwives. But that happened alongside of the death throes of an old America. That was a rally around white grievance, around white resentment, around white hatreds, It was a rally about white fragility in so many ways.
We're gathered together in the heart of our nation's capital for one very, very basic and simple reason: to save our democracy.
What we saw is an older America clinging to life. It's in its death throes. It knows that its days are numbered. At the end of the day, I would say, choose your side. There's no in between. There's no in between. That's what I would say.